On a chilling October night, Sarah, an intrepid journalist with an insatiable curiosity for the unexplained, found herself navigating a lonely, winding road that cut through a dense, dark forest. The moon, shrouded in a thick blanket of ominous clouds, cast eerie, shifting shadows that danced menacingly between the trees. Her journey began far from civilization, with a tank of gas and her trusted recorder in hand. She was on assignment, pursuing the daunting task of investigating the legends that had enshrouded a remote, long-abandoned asylum hidden deep within the heart of the haunted forest. These legends told of unspeakable horrors, grotesque experiments gone awry, and the tormented souls of the deranged who still lingered within its decaying walls. As Sarah shared her unsettling journey with her podcast audience, the unease in her voice was palpable. She questioned the wisdom of investigating the asylum on this fateful October night as the unsettling tales crept under her skin, mingling with the eerie atmosphere of the forest. The road before her twisted and turned, like a serpentine path into the heart of darkness. It seemed as if the forest itself conspired to entrap her, the trees taking on grotesque, gnarled forms that loomed over the road, casting long, menacing shadows. The only sounds that broke the silence were the rhythmic hum of her tires against the wet pavement and the mournful howl of a distant wolf. Sarah's fear deepened as the dense fog thickened around her, and her voice wavered as she recounted the harrowing history of the asylum. The darkness outside seemed to seep into her narrative, the haunting past and the sinister present becoming intertwined. As she neared her destination, Sarah's voice grew increasingly tense. The asylum's silhouette, a brooding monstrosity, rose like a phantom from the dark. Her headlights revealed shattered windows and crumbling walls, each crack and crevice oozing with the memories of anguish. Sarah's audience was transfixed by her vivid descriptions and heart-rending accounts. With trepidation, she entered the asylum, her footsteps echoing eerily through its long-forgotten corridors. Her flashlight pierced the abyss, revealing forgotten rooms filled with rusty, blood-stained medical equipment and graffiti-covered walls that told the stories of those who had once screamed in torment within these walls. But as she delved deeper, her voice suddenly fell silent, and her audience listened in breathless anticipation. A strange, eerie noise echoed from down a dark, uncharted corridor. The air grew icy, and the oppressive stillness of the asylum became deafening. A faint, ghostly whisper reached her ears, and her name seemed to be called from the very depths of the building. Paralyzed by fear, Sarah's flashlight trembled in her hand. She was no longer narrating. She was a character in her own story. Her heart raced, and a bone-chilling realization gripped her. She was not alone in the asylum. Panic surged through her veins, and she frantically retraced her steps, stumbling in her haste to escape the horrors that threatened to engulf her. Back in her car, she sped away from the asylum and the cursed forest that had become a living nightmare. Her heart pounded like a drum. The night drive that had begun as a quest for a thrilling story had become an encounter with the unknown, leaving her audience and herself with a spine-tingling, unforgettable experience. The mysteries of the asylum and the haunting whispers would stay with her, a story that had transcended mere narration to become a nightmarish reality. On that eerie October night, Emma and me, Mark, set out on an adventure down a desolate, winding road. The moon hung low, casting an eerie glow over the landscape, and the trees lining the road seemed to twist and turn like ominous specters. Emma and I were bound by our shared passion for the supernatural and our insatiable curiosity. Together, we had decided to explore a long-abandoned mansion hidden deep within the woods, a place steeped in legend and rumored to be a bridge between the world of the living and the world of the dead. As I narrated our journey, my voice quivered with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Our audience eagerly tuned in, drawn by our shared enthusiasm and the promise of a spine-tingling adventure. The road we traversed was a serpentine path leading deep into the heart of the unknown. The night was thick with mist, shrouding the world in an unsettling silence. Our car's headlights pierced the fog, revealing eerie, shifting shapes in the distance. The stillness was palpable, interrupted only by the hum of the engine and the faint calls of distant creatures. As we approached the mansion, my heart quickened with anticipation. I described the mansion's imposing silhouette, its walls covered in creeping ivy and windows that stared out like empty, vacant eyes. The place exuded a sense of forgotten grandeur, and our audience was entranced by the imagery I painted. Once inside the mansion, our flashlights illuminated a world frozen in time. Abandoned furniture, tattered drapes, and fading wallpaper whispered of untold stories. The atmosphere was heavy with history, and I couldn't help but share our excitement with our viewers. As we ventured deeper into the mansion, our voices quickened, mingling fascination and unease. Every creak of the floorboards sounded like a ghostly whisper, and the past seemed to seep from the very walls. The atmosphere was charged with an eerie electricity, and Emma and I shared a sense of unease that grew with every step we took. In a chilling moment of realization, we discovered an old, ornate mirror tucked away in a forgotten corner. The mirror's reflection was not our own, but that of a spectral figure dressed in antique clothing, staring back with hollow eyes. Our fear was palpable as we recounted the haunting encounter to our audience. The sense of dread that had enveloped us led to a frantic escape from the mansion. As we sped away down the winding road, our narration was filled with fear and panic. The encounter with the ghostly figure had shaken us to our core, and we couldn't help but look back in terror. Leaving the haunted mansion behind, we knew that our shared experience would forever be etched in our memories. It was a testament to our adventurous spirit, our bond, and the chilling reality of that fateful October night. Our audience had been along for the ride, sharing in our fear and wonder as we explored the boundaries of the supernatural. It was the height of October, and the air carried a chill that seeped into your bones. I, Samuel, was once a history professor at the local college, but my world had crumbled with the announcement of budget cuts. Saddled with mounting student loans, I was forced to relocate to a small rental near the quiet town of Ravenswood. I had always been a history enthusiast, and I yearned to transform my passion into a successful YouTube career. The house on the outskirts of Ravenswood was legendary in the town, known as the most haunted place around. It was the perfect location for a video that would hopefully breathe new life into my struggling channel. As I embarked on the drive to the ominous destination, I shared the deeper reasons for choosing this eerie location with my viewers. I revealed my personal turmoil, the pain of losing my teaching position, and my financial struggles. I spoke about how I felt my connection to the town's history could potentially rewrite my own future, as if this venture into the supernatural might change the trajectory of my life. Inside the eerie house, I couldn't help but comment on the oppressive atmosphere. The wind outside howled, and the ancient creaking floorboards groaned beneath my feet. As I spoke into the camera, I shared my unease about being alone in the house, even though I had initially dismissed the supernatural stories as mere folklore. The moment the candle extinguished, the room became a void of darkness, and I could sense the presence of something otherworldly. My heart raced, and I was seized by fear. The spectral figure of Eleanor Blackthorne appeared before me, her eyes glowing with a malevolent light. It was as though history had come to life in the most terrifying way. I stumbled through the incantation, my voice quivering. Doubt gnawed at me, and I questioned whether I should have ever entered this house. The fear was palpable, but I couldn't back out now. The desire to free Eleanor's spirit from her torment propelled me to continue. As the ghostly figure of Eleanor Blackthorne began to fade, I was left in the silent room, breathless and trembling. The house returned to its quiet state, and the shadows seemed to retreat. I was both relieved and bewildered. Had I truly broken the curse that had tormented Eleanor for centuries? I could hardly believe the journey I had embarked upon. My viewers were captivated not only by the tale of Eleanor Blackthorne, but also by the personal journey of a narrator who had confronted his own fears, insecurities, and the unknown. This story wasn't just a viral sensation. It was a turning point in my life. It served as a haunting reminder of the power of history and the uncharted territory of the future, all narrated by a man who had ventured into the darkness and emerged forever changed.